Stop. Just stop for a moment. Pause everything. Take a deep breath. I know you've been feeling guilty for saying no, for setting boundaries, for choosing yourself when someone else needed you. And maybe you've been thinking, am I selfish? Am I a bad person? Shouldn't I just give more? Then I need to tell you something that will change how you see yourself. You're not selfish. You're self-preserving. And there's a difference. Let me tell you what you've been doing. You've been giving and giving and giving to your family, your friends, your partner, your job, your community. You show up when people need you. You say yes when they ask. You help even when you're exhausted. And then, one day, you finally say no. You finally set a boundary. You finally choose yourself, and immediately the guilt crashes in. What kind of person says no when someone needs them? What kind of person puts themselves first? What kind of person stops giving? And maybe someone even called you selfish. Or maybe you just felt it, that heavy, sinking feeling that you've done something wrong. But here's what you need to understand. Selfishness and self-preservation are not the same thing. Let me tell you what happened to me. I grew up being taught that it's important to seize every opportunity. It's the immigrant mindset. Even if we don't know how to do something, we say yes, and then we figure it out. We do this because we have to work at least twice as hard to get what others have. It's the reality. But we don't use that as an excuse. We see it as a driver for our growth and our success. So, from a young age, I was just used to saying yes to almost everything. Even if I didn't actually want to do it, even if I didn't feel it. And this became a real problem. I wasted so much time, so much energy, so much money doing things I didn't want to do, with people I didn't want to see, at places I didn't care about. At work, this made me a very popular colleague. I accomplished a lot, always getting so much done. But it came at the cost of burnout. And worse, people started seeing me as a doormat. I said yes to everything. I seemed desperate, like someone with no boundaries, someone who wasn't choosy. So much so that one of my managers at the time took me into a private room, looked me in the eye, and said, "Armando, you're too nice. You need to set better boundaries for yourself. Otherwise, this world will suck you dry and toss you out the window." Those words, they still haunt me. Effectively, people were using me, and this became a pattern in my broader life. Being too nice, too kind, always available, always saying yes, to the point where I felt cheap, like a joke. In my 20s, I spent over a year with a group of people who sort of adopted me. We spent a lot of our time together. Oh, they loved sports. They loved drinking, even drinking on Wednesdays, going out every night, Thursday through Sunday, spending money they didn't really have. They loved talking about women and hookups. And of course, I guess they loved me because I was their coach, their therapist, the global creative person of the group who had qualities they lacked. Kind, gentle, the opposite of them. But I didn't care about any of it. I didn't want to go drink on a Wednesday after work. I didn't want to go out and party every weekend. I didn't want to talk about sports and women all night. I wanted intellectual conversation. I wanted to go to the movies, bookstores, cafes. I wanted to write, paint, read. I wanted to go on hikes. I wanted to explore the world. But those things seemed so boring to them, dull. something for old people. So I started growing resentful, frustrated. I wasn't making time for myself. I was spending all my free time doing things I didn't care about with people who didn't value what I valued. But I was scared of being alone. I wanted to be nice and accommodating. I wanted them to feel wanted, and I didn't want to feel rejected. I wanted them to like me. And that ended up costing me a lot. One Saturday, they invited me to a birthday party for someone I didn't even know. It was a pub crawl, so lots of heavy drinking. Just more of the same nonsense. And I said no. I said I wasn't feeling it. And they got mad. They asked me, "Aw, so you're just gonna be boring and stay at home on a Saturday reading your little books about history and looking at maps of the world?" That moment changed everything. It made me realize they don't respect me and they also don't deserve me. So I started fading away, gradually at first, then flat out saying no to their plans and invites. They could tell something was off, that I was changing. And some of them even told me that I was being selfish, that I didn't care about them anymore, that I thought I was better than them, that I was just too good to do the things they did. And I felt guilty because this group had looked out for me. They treated me to drinks and food. They'd relied on me for advice. They included me. I felt like I was abandoning an investment I'd taken the time to build. But in reality, I was doing the right thing for myself. I was choosing me over the expectations of others. Let me show you what I mean. Imagine you're a well, a deep, abundant well that provides water to everyone around you. People come to you when they're thirsty, when they need water, and you give them because, well, that's what wells do. They provide. But here's the thing about wells. They need to be refilled. If people keep drawing and drawing and drawing water and nothing flows back in, eventually the well runs dry. And when the well is dry, no one gets water. Not the people who need it, not you, no one. Selfishness is taking water from other people's wells to fill your own. Selfishness is draining others to benefit yourself. It's taking at someone else's expense. But self-preservation, that's protecting your water level so you can keep giving. Self-preservation is saying, I can't give right now because my well is running low. I need to refill. And when people call you selfish for that, they're asking you to run dry. They're asking you to give from an empty well. And that's not sustainable. It's not healthy, and it's not fair. You're not selfish. You're self-preserving your capacity to give. Now, let me tell you why this feels so hard. It's because you were taught that your worth comes from how much you give. From the time you were young, you learned that love, approval, and value come from being useful, from helping, from sacrificing yourself for others. So when you stop giving, even for a moment, you feel like you're losing your worth. But here's the truth. Your worth doesn't come from what you give. Your worth is inherent. You matter because you exist, not because you're useful, not because you serve others, not because you give until you're empty. You matter because you're here. And when you preserve yourself, when you protect your energy, your time, your peace, you're not being selfish. You're honoring the fact that you matter too. Because here's what happens when you run yourself dry. You start giving from resentment. You start helping, but hating it. You start showing up, but disappearing inside. And that's not real giving. That's martyrdom. And it helps no one. My dad once told me something that changed everything. You become the people you're around the most. And I remember looking at that group of so-called friends, and I realized I don't want to become like them at all. So I chose myself. Of course, they kept texting, asking if I wanted to hang out, making me feel guilty. And my response is slow down. I'd say I was busy with work until eventually I just stopped connecting with them. And in the weeks after, I felt two things: immediate relief, but also more heavy guilt. Relief, because I was finally free. Guilt, because I felt like I was abandoning something I'd invested my time in. But I learned something crucial. I needed to take control of my life and my time. I needed to decide when enough was enough. I needed to learn to get up and leave, even if it felt too soon. Now, I treat myself like a luxury. My time is extremely valuable. And if you're in my life and I'm making the time to share it with you, it means you're important to me. Seriously, don't take it for granted. I say no regularly to invitations. And it's not because I don't like people. I love people. It's because I love myself and I value my time and I know what I want in my life. Because here's what I realized. Every minute, every hour, every day, every week, every month, every year that you spend doing things you don't actually want to do, that's time you can't get back. Ever. Time that could have gone toward doing the things you actually want. The things that actually matter. The things that align with who you're becoming. Business executives, the really good ones anyway, they understand this. Time is money. That's why the best ones are very rigid with their time, with their resources. People often scoff at them with a raised nose, but the reality is that people in any walk of life who value their time end up accomplishing a lot more. And I'm becoming more and more that way. Not because I think I'm better than others. I'm not. But because I understand my value and my worth. And I want to make a real global impact. And I recognize that to do that, I need to respect myself, protect my energy, protect my well. I can't get sucked into becoming someone I'm not. I can't lose myself with people who provide immediate validation, but not enough nourishment to grow into who I'm meant to be. So self-preservation isn't selfish. It's strategic. And let me tell you what self-preservation actually is. Self-preservation is recognizing that you can't pour from an empty well. Self-preservation is saying no when you don't have the capacity to say yes. Self-preservation is protecting your energy so you can give from fullness, not depletion. Self-preservation is choosing rest, boundaries, and peace, not because you don't care about others, but because you care about your own ability to keep caring. And here's what people don't tell you. The people who truly love you will understand. The people who care about you will want you to refill your well. They'll want you to rest. They'll want you to be okay. The people who call you selfish, they're not mad that you're taking care of yourself. They're mad that they can't take from you anymore. And you are not responsible for their disappointment. You are not responsible for their expectations. You are not responsible for being an endless supply. You're responsible for your own well. And that's not selfish. That's survival. So here's what I need you to do. Stop apologizing for choosing yourself. Stop feeling guilt for setting boundaries. Stop calling yourself selfish when you're just trying to survive. You're not selfish. You're self-preserving. Check your well. How full is it? How long have you been giving and giving and giving without refilling it? And then gently, firmly, unapologetically protect your water. Say no when you need to. Rest when you're tired. Set boundaries when you're depleted. Not because you don't care, because you do care. And you want to keep being able to care. And if you need to remind yourself, if the guilt tries to creep back in, leave a comment down below. Just 4 words. I'm protecting the well. Say it out loud. Because when you stop apologizing for self-preservation, you reclaim your right to exist without depletion. So no, you're not selfish. You're not a bad person. You're not doing anything wrong. If anything, you're protecting your well so you can keep giving from a place of fullness, not emptiness.